people don't understand when we are in power, the battles we gotta fight that you will never know about. Never. Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, your privacy has always been important to me, and I would never say something that you didn't say. But I know that if you look at me, then clearly the world will know that you've already had the forbidden fruit.
Cancellation of Sherri Shepherd's show after just 4 seasons feels bigger than one talk show ending. The daytime TV space is changing, and Sherri's rise is inseparable from the Wendy Williams show. We all remember when Sherri was a recurring guest host during Wendy Williams' health hiatus and was officially given Wendy's 10 a.m. spot. Once it was obvious Wendy wouldn't be ready to come back
Y'all, this is not just another cancellation story. This is a full-blown industry execution, and the timing? Way too calculated to be random. Sherri Shepherd didn't just lose her show. She got cut OFF. Silenced. Erased overnight. No warning. No scandal. No ratings drop. Just boom, gone. And now, Jagaur Wright is stepping into the fire, claiming this wasn't business. It was punishment. According to Jagaur, Sherri was pressured behind closed doors to play the game. They allegedly wanted to mold her into the next daytime puppet, smiling, compliant, spiritually compromised. The whispers? They wanted her to wear the crown, but only if she agreed to bow first. And Sherri? She refused. Flat out. That's when things turned dark. Jagaur says the same machine that chews up truth-tellers came knocking. The same elite circle that rewards silence and destroys rebellion. And suddenly, Sherri's show, profitable, stable, controversy-free, was wiped off the board like it never existed. But here's where it explodes. Jagaur claims Sherri speaking up for Tyra Banks wasn't random loyalty, it was coded resistance. A quiet signal to others who've been burned by the system. And insiders are panicking. Now Jagaur is doubling down, saying she has receipts. Saying Sherri was warned. Saying this is bigger than daytime TV. This isn't cancellation. It's a warning shot. And if Jagaur is telling the truth, Sherri Shepherd just survived something most celebrities don't walk away from.
Our show has not been renewed for another season. And I want to say to y'all, everybody, y'all try not to faint or fall out, because healthcare is expensive and none of us have it anymore. So y'all don't fall out. But I have to say, in thinking about it, I'm truly overwhelmed by the outpouring of love that I have received from all of you. The messages, I feel every bit of the love that you've been sending to me. And thank you so much. But I want to be clear. I'm not ready to throw in the towel on this show just yet. I'm not. We're going to be airing episodes all through the fall, and we're going to continue to fight to keep the show alive in some way, shape, or form. Yes.
But hold up. Even before the world could catch its breath, Sherri Shepherd sparked an absolute storm by defending Tyra Banks. Yes, Tyra, the same woman who got dragged and cancelled for ruthlessly tormenting contestants on America's Next Top Model. Let me break it down for you. Netflix recently dropped a jaw-dropping 3-part docuseries exposing the twisted, behind-the-scenes abuse those girls went through. And guess who's at the eye of the hurricane? Tyra. Jagaur Wright claims Sherri wasn't just defending a friend, she was daring the industry itself. Tyra literally wrecked those girls' lives on camera, tearing them apart over every flaw, every curve, every inch of who they were. The producers? The other judges? Complicit, watching as it all unfolded, because entertainment came before humanity. But Tyra? She was the storm incarnate. And here's the real twist. The same woman who publicly humiliated dozens of young women had the audacity to ask for sympathy when she herself was no longer the industry's golden standard of beauty. The irony is savage. The hypocrisy? Blinding. Sherri calling this out? Jagaur says it's like lighting a match in a powder keg. It wasn't just speaking truth, it was a direct challenge to the system that chews up anyone bold enough to resist. And now, the backlash has been catastrophic.
Tyra Banks made the model, specifically Danny and Joni, go to the dentist to get their teeth pulled and gap fixed, or else they'd be kicked off the show and sent home. And despite Danny winning it all, she couldn't book shit because she was stigmatized as a reality TV star, which Tyra knew would happen but chose to do nothing about it. Tyra also made her model Ebony shave her head, which was done by condescending white hairstylists who gave her 3 bald spots with dog clippers. And in that same moment of weakness, Tyra called her out for always being ashy and said her shoots were the hardest to do because of her skin, which was damn near perfect. There was also a model by the name of Shani Sullivan, who was SA'd while under the influence in Italy, and the cameraman decided to record the entire thing for good television. And years later, Shani told Tyra on her talk show that she couldn't watch the show because of all the trauma she endured, and Tyra responded by showing the clips from Italy to everyone watching. Dion, a model from Cycle 8, was forced to pose as a gunshot wound victim when production knew her mom was paralyzed due to gun. They also made the models look and dress homeless with real homeless people in the backgrounds, as well as pose as drug addicts and people with EDs. And this is the real kicker. They made the models swap races for not only one shoot, but two, in which the black models would turn Native American and Korean, and the white models would turn African and African American, all whom were accompanied by 3-year-old babies who matched their swap ethnicities and races. So what was Tyra's explanation for blackface, you may ask? Well, she said this was her way of showing that black and brown were beautiful.
This was my way of showing the world that brown and black is beautiful.
As if she couldn't use the black and brown models that she already had on set. And despite Tyra getting made fun of for her weight IRL, she made a model by the name of Kenya do a shoot as Gluttony and an elephant because her stomach was a little bigger compared to the other models. Kenya also voiced the fact that she was uncomfortable while working with a male model by the name of Bertini, but it was ultimately brushed off by production. But come to find out, the final shot they chose was bro gripping her thigh. Is that a coincidence? We all obviously seen the "We Were All Rooting For You" clip.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Which I didn't think was that bad until she blew up the fact that Tiffany's grandmom had her lights turned off because she had to buy a swimsuit for the competition.
Girl, buckle up, because this next part is downright heartbreaking and enraging. And we're barely scratching the surface of the hell Tyra Banks unleashed on those young women. Imagine living through pure psychological torture and then having it broadcast on national television for millions to watch, judge, and enjoy. Jagaur Wright says it was nothing short of predatory entertainment. Most of these girls, they didn't get careers, they didn't get fame. Some ended up homeless, some trapped in substance abuse, all because the industry needed a hit show. They were stripped of their dignity, mocked for every flaw, and sent home broken, while millions poured into the pockets of producers and judges. And Tyra? She sat at the center of the storm, orchestrating chaos like it was her right. The documentary supposedly shows her admitting wrongdoing. Yeah, she regretted the mental torment she caused. But Jagaur says don't buy it. The same clips also show her gaslighting the audience, insisting she only did it because people wanted it. Girl, who made you judge, jury, and executioner of these girls' lives? Accountability? Non-existent. This wasn't art, this wasn't mentorship, it was bullying dressed as entertainment, and the ratings proved it. Jagaur argues this is exactly why Sherri Shepherd spoke up. Because sometimes, someone has to call out the empire, even if it means losing everything in the process. And this is only getting started.
I regret making that girl chop her own hand off? Of course I do. Of course I do. Do I see it differently now? Of course I do. 2020 vision in hindsight, of course I wouldn't make her do that. But you guys made me do that. That's what I'm saying. It's reality TV. You guys would have been more mad at me if I didn't make her do that. You see what I'm saying? My hands were tied. Okay, production said, you have to do this or the show is canceled. Okay, even though it was my idea to make her chop her hand off. And I spearheaded the whole thing. But my hands were tied. You guys forced me to do that. Would I do that today? Of course I wouldn't. Of course I wouldn't do that today. But we're in a different time now. We live in a different time. Do I regret making her chop her hand off? Of course I do. Would I take it back?
But hold on to your seats, because here's where it gets explosive. Despite all the chaos, Sherri Shepherd sat in front of the cameras right after the doc dropped and defended Tyra like her life depended on it. Jagaur Wright claims it was like watching someone willingly jump into the fire. Any normal person with a shred of morality would have called Tyra out plain and simple. But Sherri? She doubled down, unapologetic and fierce. And honestly, this isn't new. Sherri has a long history of backing controversial figures, no matter how messy their past. Not long ago, she faced savage online backlash for saying she'd love to have Chris Brown on her show. Yes, the same man accused of multiple DV incidents. Allegations that go beyond the Rihanna case, reportedly involving other women. Sherri didn't flinch. Jagaur says this isn't ignorance. This is a pattern, a fearless, unfiltered loyalty to people most wouldn't touch. Even when defending Jonathan Major, another actor with alleged DV claims, she said, and I quote, "I've always been a fan of Jonathan Major. He's an amazing actor. I wanted to hear his side of the story. I've always believed in grace and second chances. I would love to have Chris Brown on, but I knew the backlash would hit. I was prepared for it with Jonathan. And then it exploded." Sherri claimed Tyra had every right to act the way she did on America's Next Top Model, insisting the industry back then made such cruelty acceptable. Jagaur says this pushed her over the edge. Sherri broke down, crying like someone had died, her emotions raw and unfiltered. If you saw her in that moment, you'd think the world itself had collapsed.
Don't understand when we are in power, the battles we gotta fight that you will never know about. Never. To keep a show on the air. There are things that we have to do that people will tell us. If you want to stay on the air, this is what you got to do. And we got to weigh the options. And sometimes we make bad decisions and we look up and we go, in hindsight, maybe I should not have done it. I've been up all night watching Netflix's documentary about Tyra Banks and America's Next Top Model. When I tell you I was hooked, I understand why people are mad. I do understand. But I also say you have to understand the time that this all happened was in 2003. Reality TV was a wild, wild west back then. Every show was trying to outdo each other to stay on the air. We had people that were eating rats on Survivor. We had people getting in a vat of spiders on Fear Factor. Simon Cowell was telling people they sucked to their faces. I cannot forget that Tyra that was a young black woman trying to make it in the reality TV game. Like it just, now we have a plethora of TV shows. We're not naive to what goes on behind the scenes in reality shows today. So we're trying to compare a time today that we know a lot to a time when there was nothing.
But get this, she was crying because she already knew what was coming for her. And maybe her entire situation was close to what Tyra was going through. Now after this, Sherri hosted the other judges who were on the show. And once again, she was Team Tyra. She straight up asked them to their faces what exactly they wanted Tyra to do now that they are all seemingly ganging up on her. And this is what they had to say.
I felt that Tyra did not take accountability. It's been a lot of backlash online and everywhere. What should Tyra do?
Well, wow. Yeah.
Actually, she answered answer questions.
She should answer the questions that they ask her.
I mean, look, I'm not her publicist.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure who her publicist is.
I mean, Jagaur Wright basically says we have no idea what someone like Sherri actually goes through. The constant calculations, the endless balancing act of what's safe, smart, or survivable without losing everything. And if you read between the lines, it almost sounds like Sherri was pushed out of her own seat, like the decision to cancel her show wasn't entirely hers. Some insiders are convinced that's exactly what went down. There's a growing theory that Sherri didn't fail. She refused to play the game. Her show got cut because she dared to be too positive, too real. And let's be honest, positivity doesn't trend in this industry. Remember, her show only got a green light because Delbar Mercury needed a replacement for the messy, chaotic Wendy Williams show, which thrived on dragging people, spotlighting flaws, and targeting black celebrities. Sherri's vibe? Clean, uplifting, and a threat to that formula. It gets worse. Jagaur says Sherri was negotiating for a massive pay bump, requesting fewer filming days, and trying to restructure the show to batch multiple episodes in one taping so she could focus on acting. But reportedly, once she pushed for changes, things between her and Delbar Mercury started rapidly deteriorating. Ratings were solid, revenue was strong, but insiders claim her contract wasn't just allowed to expire, it was deliberately terminated. Sound familiar? Jagaur compares it to what Cat Williams went through. Networks tried to blackball him when he demanded higher pay, replaced him with Kevin Hart, and smeared him with substance abuse claims. Now, Cat Williams is stepping up to defend Sherri, saying she's being punished for refusing to use her platform for the industry's hidden agendas. Look at other big names, Ellen, Oprah. Their longevity wasn't just about ratings. Both have been quietly tied to Diddy, Weinstein, Epstein, and more. If this were really about ratings, Sherri's show would still be on top 3 in daytime TV. As usual, the internet is ablaze. One person wrote, "If you're not pushing the agenda or telling the whole truth, you're banished. Open your eyes." Another said, "Sherri wasn't here for the BS, respect to her." But now, what's next? So, what do you think? Is Sherri Shepherd truly done, or is this just the beginning of her comeback saga? Jagaur Wright says the fight is far from over.